This project is going to discuss importing a Dxf file and then filling the objects that are brought in. So I'm going to first import a file, a Dxf file called Screet. Very important, we want the auto-reduce nodes checked. We'll OK that and then press Enter. That brings in our file. What I want to call your attention, though, is that this was generated in a CAD program, and very often when things appear to be fillable, they really aren't. So I'm just explaining there. Every different segment in this file is a separate object. I'm going to undo those and put them back where they belong. This looks like it would fill, but if we select that item and try to fill it, notice we're told that the objects selected are filled with a blue, but nothing happens. We can combine that, still nothing. Then I have the Join Curves Docker open. I'm going to apply the Join Curves, and we see that we have a fillable object that we can set to whatever color we need. Let's take the same approach to possibly this T. I'm going to zoom up to get, and then we'll select all of the objects in the T. I'm checking down here to be sure there's 8 objects, which should be correct for that T. And let's try to fill that maybe with a cyan. Nothing. Let's combine that. Still nothing. Let's apply that. That worked on our scalloped rectangle, but it does not work here, which means that's not fillable, or it must not be a closed curve. So let's go to our Shape tool and see if we can find at certain points 2 different nodes at the same intersection. I'm going to tell it to turn those 2 nodes into 1 node, or join 2 nodes. There must be one more. There it is. Let's join 2 nodes there, and notice now it's a fillable object, and that picked up our cyan. Let's try the same thing on the E, only this time we're not going to combine it. We're just going to join curves. So first we'll assign a color, maybe a green. We'll apply that. Nothing. So we could go back and manually adjust that as we did in the T. So we'll go to our Shape tool. There's our double node. And in this case, joining those was only the one double node that we had to manually join. Now we've zoomed back out, and let's try a different tool that you'll find easier by far than the others we've covered so far, and that is the Smart Fill. We're going to come over and click inside that E, and one mouse click is all we need. Now let's do the same thing in the R. Maybe in that case we'll change that to a different color, and for no good reason, but we'll do that on the K. So it sounds like we've found a much easier way to do things, but this does have some problems. In each of these cases, notice we still have the individual parts. If we do it this way using a Smart Fill, we still have these individual parts that we have to deal with. Matter of fact, let's undo the K and then show one other method where we don't have to get rid of the garbage remaining. And that would be going to Tools, Options, Document, General, and telling it to fill open curves. So now if we select this group of objects, let's tell it we'd like to fill that with a brown. Nothing happens because it is 13 separate objects. So let's go to Join Curves and apply that, at which time that fills up, although it's not a closed shape. Let's try the same thing on this S, and you'll see the problem with this part. I'm going to select the S and tell it to maybe fill that with this color. Now you'll see the problem with filling non-closed objects. Zoom in on that to where you can see that CorelDRAW got confused on what was inside and what was outside of the shape. So at this point, I'm going to delete the work we've done here, import once again that Dxf, auto reduce nodes. Okay, I'll press enter to throw that out in the center of the page and show you the tool that you'll use most often in this kind of a scenario. It is a seldom documented use of the virtual segment delete. Let's select everything for it to be a purple. Then I'm going to go to the crop flyout, select the virtual segment delete. I'm holding the shift key down and dragging a box around everything there. A combination keystroke mouse key almost completed the entire process, except for this R. And so while everything is still selected, I'm going to go back to my pick tool and tell it to combine that. So 2 keystrokes completes the entire process. This is basically an undocumented tip on a way to use the virtual segment delete. This was supplied by Foster Coburn's Graphics Unleashed blog, and the poster was Jeff Harrison. Project complete.